Good afternoon. It's June 13th, and this is the Driving Forward podcast. Whether you're joining us live or listening on one of our 18 platforms, including wreaths across America, where we broadcast every Tuesday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we appreciate your support. Throughout the show, we invite you to share your comments and questions at any time. Your engagement fuels our discussion and helps us navigate the world of transportation and logistics together. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce you to Kyle Kottke. Kyle's a leader and the driving force behind Kottke Trucking, with nearly 3 decades in the transportation industry. Kyle's journey is marked by his commitment to excellence and innovation and the values of the Bleeding Blue ethos. He's the co-owner and general manager and has not only steered Kottke Trucking towards success, but has also created a culture of unity, integrity, and continuous improvement. And today we have the privilege of exploring Kyle's remarkable story, uncovering the milestones and memories, not the memoirs, but the milestones and memories and insights that have shaped this career and his solidified his legacy in the world of trucking. So, Kyle, welcome to Driving Forward.
That was pretty thick, my friend. I might take a snippet of that and just pass it around. That was pretty impressive. Thank you very much.
I get that every time. I put thought into introductions, and I don't try to lay it on too thick unless I'm gonna have major fun with something, and I don't know you well enough to do the wrestler intro. So maybe in a couple of years, I did that. If you ever want to see a funny one, if you haven't seen it yet, go look up my intro for Jeff Dickinson or for Robert Bain, where I did a wrestler intro. So if you haven't seen it,
I'm going to mark that down because, frankly, that probably fits my personality better than the one you gave me.
Fair enough. I just need to know you better, and then because then I'll get it a little bit more personal. But I do know enough about you that I know that you're a humble guy, and it's I think I know a lot of people that know you, so that's where I know you from, and so I knew that I'm saying truths, and I knew that you would respond in that fashion. So because I think we are in alignment. If someone said this about me, I would probably say the same thing that you just said. So
there was a word in there of legacy, and the only person around here that maybe carries that title is my father, and I never will take that spot. So thank you for the intro. It was flattering nonetheless, but I'll forever be the blue collar guy that just goes to work every day.
Fair enough. I hear you loud and clear. So Kyle, I'm sure some of the people watching have already know you. I know you've been on a few shows and talked about your background, but why don't we go over that quick a little bit? Give us the Kyle Kottke story, if you don't mind. Start at the beginning. I'm sure you could give us the hour-long story, but let's not do the hour-long.
We won't go into that. Many people love to hear the story that my first job is the only one I got fired from, right? I was about 12 years old and a grease gun, and my father told me that he admired my attempt, but it wasn't for me. So that was my first attempt of joining the family company. Then I went to college to be a banker, and frankly found out that blue collar was my life. And came running home and pleading for forgiveness and a spot with the family, and never looked back since. So the reality is, you think that you'd maybe regret that. And I maybe thought about it a few times, but as banking went through their mess in 2008, 2009, All I was relieved that I had to deal with the trucking side of that mess, not the banking side. So, and then mid 20 teens, 2014, I believe it was, I effectively took my turn leading the company. Two acquisitions later, we're about 250 people. And my good joke is on a bad day, it's 249 too many. But, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, most days I'm incredibly thankful for everything that we've been to, and I'm truly better than I deserve. I mean that every day I say it.
No, I can appreciate that. 250 people is a lot of people. It's a lot of people to think about every day. And what would you say sets your organization apart from other companies?
It's our people. You know, you can say that I drive this thing, but really, my dad set the tone that we work for our drivers. And it starts there. We try to surround ourselves with the best absolute people that we can, and ones that actually give a shit.
Yep.
And that's the start point of everything that we do.
No, I can equate to that. That's been the way I founded myself going back 28 years. And the moment I came into an office, every office role I ever had, going through GM, going through company owner, um, was always to create good jobs for drivers. And if you can't create that job that you would do yourself and enjoy, then what are you going to do for? I mean, how could you ask people to do that? And the better job that you have for people, the more likely you're going to have less turnover, and the longer they're going to stay. And so that's certainly something I've always equated with. So just for awareness, Kottke Trucking is a Minnesota-based organization. I live in Minnesota as well. I've been well aware of Kottke Trucking on a variety of levels my entire career. So
Our paths continue to kind of wind together and almost cross, and then don't. And
right.
kind of fun journey getting to kind of know you over the last decade here. That's for sure.
Yeah. So much so that I don't think we've ever actually shook hands. I don't think, have we? So
Probably not. No.
no, I think we walked past each other a few times, but we've had a few good phone calls here over the last year, and I doubt we'll pass that opportunity the next time. But
no, we got a few funny ones that we need to share in person. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So and several moments in time that when you rewind, that there would have been options of we might have been working together at one point or another. So
we were close, weren't we? Yes.
Yep, absolutely. So another couple of key points with Kottke is you do a lot of philanthropy. You work with charities. I know you have a Trucks for Toys initiative.
Yep.
And
that we love. We want a toy in every kid's hands, regardless if they can get one or not. So we do that really large here in Minnesota and in Florida. And then the women in my family are very involved in the Relay for Life activities. So Monday will be the first time I touch a golf club this year. Might be the last time I touch a golf club this year, as we invite many of our vendors out here to the metropolis of Buffalo Lake to raise some funds for it. And then we do all kinds of other things. We have a scholarship program. We have, I won't lie, there's so many things that usually they're walking through reminding me of, next Wednesday you got to be here, next Thursday you got to be there. And they're all fun, whether it be the local schools or kids or toys or cancer. We leave each day knowing that we're trying to do a little better than just trucking.
Yeah, no, I think anytime you can focus back in on the community and even just pull the company forward on a mission outside of moving freight, I think that's just nice to be able to create that mission. I see, what you guys do from the Trucks for Toys and a lot of other things, and it gives that message that you exist beyond the trucking side alone. So
I had a unique situation, probably it feels like a year ago, but it's probably more like five. We usually try to remain incredibly anonymous in our relief of that, but somehow a mother got a hold of our address, and she sent a letter. And I'm a tough old fashioned German, but reading that one, I may or may not have needed a tissue. It was amazing that her three kids had absolutely no hope for a normal Christmas, and the employees here and their efforts allowed for that. So it's good stuff.
no, that's awesome. So you're able to kind of save the Christmas for that family and make it happen, and that's wonderful. So well, just being able to respond and help out where you can. I saw that. I see that happen every once in a while, and I think that the human nature of that, and just being able to give back when you can, that's important. It shows positive action from companies. It shows positive action from just the employee base. Every leader in the organization. It just shows great culture. So when you and I were talking about getting together on this, we've both been in the industry forever, and we talked a lot about memories and milestones. So, and that's actually what I titled the episode. So let's get into some of that before we go into more serious stuff, because I know we want to talk a little bit about the market and struggles, kind of the current day struggles, where we're going as an industry, et cetera, et cetera. So what are some of your favorite memories being in the industry so far? So and so far is once again going against the memoir statement.
Yeah, the chapters that have been written, I've got some pretty good ones, and blessed that my father was in the first half of my career here, and pretty easy to fall in love with not only the culture but the industry, when he was so easy to view the industry through his eyes. And those that don't know, my dad absolutely did not like this part of the world, and loved to sit in the seat of a truck, and would remind us every dang day what that was like as he was out there and doing the job that we talk about. And frankly, for that matter, now today, in many days, Kurt's in the seat of a truck, and Corey will be in the seat of a truck. They tease me that they still got to remind me. So, but those early memories, even before I joined, I remember being a 13-year-old kid and taking the first trip with my dad after his bypass surgery. Pulled me out of school. We went to Texas together, and it was just amazing. Those memories will be with me forever. I remember him pulling over in a rest area on the way down, and he just happened to know that it was going to be one with a good view. And then I remember going, "What are we doing here?" And his words were simple: "Sometimes life gets too high and too low, but I need to make sure that I can see it all." And here we are on the top of a hill overlooking a valley, and it was just beautiful.
I
And
was on the way to Texas.
it was, and I don't know if he was I don't know if he was planning that moment for 4 days or 2 hours or 15
Yeah.
minutes. But, what a fitting spot. And he was very consistent with that message the entire time that he got to share with us. And um, the when I say I'm better than I deserve, I mean, when your hero is your mentor and you get to do this with him at your side for as many years as all three of us did, I mean, it's easy to pay that forward uh, to our current staff and employees, because that's what he would demand if he was still with us today.
Yeah, no, that's a awesome statement, awesome story, and an awesome experience. So that's few people get that. So few people get that, and especially with the, I mean, I have some mentors in the industry. They kind of come in and out. So and they certainly weren't family members, but to have that be your dad is even better. So and spend that time. So that's absolutely amazing. So, and what being a driver, and I hold similar experiences to your father, in the fact that if life wouldn't have made certain turns, I probably would have stayed in a truck. So I do love the road. I love a good road trip. I still will opt to drive over fly if I have the time. I did a road trip in March to Matt's and then TCA, and I took my pickup instead of a plane, just because I needed to take a booth with us, and it just made more sense to me and my simple logic.
Yep, because
So,
and
but
my travels over the last year, and since you and I begin to get to know each other a little better, there's a lot of people thankful that you're not in the seat of a truck, because it seems everywhere I turn, your business is becoming secondhand knowledge to a lot of my peers. So I haven't been blessed with that yet, but our
yeah,
podcast.
yeah, no, I hear your name, or you're sending names our way, or your various different things. So I think I don't know if you're out in Vermont in a few weeks or not, but maybe I'll be seeing you there.
Maybe so. I'm not there yet. I got a daughter that's supposed to be swinging a bat, so I'm going to have to make a tough decision between friends or family, and I'm going to lose no matter what.
Yeah, I had not go to the conference, so based on a friends and family scenario, but I'll be going to the event following. So,
Very cool.
but no, and the other thing that goes through my mind based on your story with your father is, there aren't very many, because I've driven so much, is there aren't very many overlook points between here and Texas.
Well,
maybe a couple in Kansas and one maybe at best.
we might have been on a back road intentionally.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
I know exactly where we were, and it probably wasn't the shortest route, but
yeah,
lo and behold, he was going to make sure that moment took place. And
fair enough. So
I found it. The truth is, I should go back.
yeah,
At 13, you could easily forget where you were, but I knew where we were. And I haven't been back to that location since then. I'd probably end up being another puddle, crying like a little baby on this
yeah.
up there. So
Sometimes you need to do that. So doesn't hurt to go revisit that. So no, that's a excellent topic, excellent story. I'm glad you shared that with me, with us. That's beautiful. Let's move, and we can come back to more company and culture items too. But you had said, you brought up an article, and I actually had already tapped on it too today. An article written by Todd Maiden from FreightWaves, where he largely quoted Derek Leathers, who's the chairman and CEO of Werner. And Derek had mentioned that the truckload industry downturn is closer to the end than the beginning. And if anyone wants to see, just look up or read this. Just look it up on FreightWaves. It's on the. It should be one of the top articles right now. If not, just search Werner Enterprises sees better days ahead. And the article, largely he's stating that they're seeing things better than a year ago, but it's still a fight every day. But it's a turn for the better than what it's been. And I'm making a synopsis of probably a page to 2 page long article. But Kyle, did you want to add more to that synopsis before I start asking questions?
Well, the one thing that's fantastic about Mr. Weathers, and I've only met him once and I've heard him probably 5, 6 times, he's a no BS guy, or as much as you
Right.
can be leading a publicly traded company. And I track 4 or 5 of them, and Martin and Swift and Heartland, I think, are the 4 that I often read their news. And the reality is he makes some incredibly uh, bold statements in there, about cost savings. 2/3 of them are going to be tangible and static for forever, which is great. I mean, we're all trying to do that. I was deeply surprised to read that his OTR division is 10% spot. Um,
Right.
that was interesting to me. So the fact that they would allow that to go to spot is he truly believes there's a better day ahead. Um, and the eroding irregular route long haul continues. I mean, they talk about theirs, and they talk about incremental gains, which I found interesting. 5 to 10% rate increase equals a 300 basis point margin. Um, Not often do you get somebody to tip their hand that clearly like he did, but their truckload division is what it is. I believe Martin was 100% in their truckload side in the first quarter. Our friends at Heartland's 105, and Knight is almost in the same category. So, I mean, better days ahead. That those companies are going to operate at a near zero margin for long. And so, my friends that are struggling, I point to those type things, going, it has to change.
Well, I agree. And the better days ahead, I think we've been 2 years in, and I'm not running trucks for the asterisks here. I haven't run trucks in a while, but I'm deep into it. And this is what I do all day long, is talk about this. So,
Yep.
So largely, we're 2 years into a down market, and it is likely that this statement is true because, no matter how you look at this, no matter how you parse this apart, it's not a demand problem. That we have plenty of freight in the industry. We just have too many trucks,
We do. Yep,
and
there's no question.
those
At
trucks
the
have
end of the day, we drove trucks into it because we needed it during COVID, and here we are. And it's been hard and slow to burn that off. And some people are still sitting on government assistance, and the margins were so wide during that time that there's a lot of paid for trucks that are parked and don't need to owe us anything and are ready to come back to the market, which isn't necessarily a good thing. Um, the
I'm curious the percentage of carriers that are now fully factoring too. So where there were not pre-COVID. So factoring is a big component of the industry now, where if you go back 14, 15 years ago, it was a small percentage of the industry. But, I don't know if there's a demographic out there that shows percentage of the industry that is factoring. But, I mean, when you get immediate cash flow and you don't have to wait in that 30, 60, you can stretch much further. And I think as that cash runs out, so to your point, we have the COVID cash. So without identifying every piece of it, the COVID cash, and then you now have factoring on top of that, and
in a bank not collecting their payment.
correct.
You got BMO Harris reporting largest ever reserves for their transportation unit, and that thing is going to flush out here at some particular moment. So, you know, um, the the movie The Perfect Storm is a great one. It feels like you're in the eye, right? It's that nice calm, right? But it's going to be fun here, and frankly, we many of us good operators have taken care of a lot of things to get us to a point that we're not worried about the next 90 or 120 or 180 days. But there's a lot of people who are.
Right.
so this whole transformation of the industry looks different because of COVID. Now you're in the post-COVID, and now you're going to go into the next term. And not all the things that some of us have done in the last 12 to 18 months have been fun, but we've done it to make sure that here we are. We're going to see the other side of this. And I thought we maybe go into industry. You'd find this fun. The spring of 2024 for us. Now we're a blended LTL truckload, so I don't know that we're a great measurement for the rest. Versus the spring of 2021, we're 17% more efficient. We're 1% up on rate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you know how much my costs have gone up since 2021 to 2024? I mean,
30%, 20 to 30%. Yeah.
So I'm 17% more efficient, and I'm 1% ahead on rate.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at everything, you've got all this new technology that's making everyone much more efficient. Well, this is what happened to transportation over the last 13 years. You just look at Atri's study over costs, and all the costs have gone up, and rates haven't really gone up that much. Costs have grown 60 cents a mile plus. Driver wages are nearly double. Trucks are double. Fuel actually technically over the last 10 years is the same, but it dropped and has now since doubled. And that's largely just because of emission standards back in 2013. So, but we stabilized that, and now we're just dealing with pure fuel costs, not inefficiencies of trucks. So, something's got to give. And you just look at Atri's numbers, and those carriers that are performing in spot at 50% or more, I don't know how they're going to make it. They're going to be the exits. So, and to your point with Werner operating at 10% spot, I would be curious to see who they're functioning with, if they're only working with the major brokers. So I can't imagine that they're playing true spot market where they're posting trucks.
I would agree with that. There'd be no reason for them to. I mean, I don't know that I would if I was in their spot. So
right.
You add on top of that the technology that has reached our level and even below now versus any other cycle, and that the fact that the cycle is more extreme than I've seen, makes it forever easier to sit in this spot. So one of my customers actually just took effect this week, both dedicated and long haul. I lost the long haul business on a 2-year contract, and I asked for a flat rate. I didn't want to even give them a flat rate for a 2-year contract. And it was a significant size business. And now this week I got the dedicated side. So I asked my driver, who the heck's in there? So I know who it is, and we both know who it is. Well, you don't know who it is, but I know you know who it is.
Sure, fair enough.
And I go, dear Lord, you and I would put that person on a top shelf thing. They beat my rate, and they were willing to sign it for 2 years. I mean, the craziness of what we're seeing in that marketplace. I'm forever blessed. I went on a Christmas tour where I got to see 5 of my top 7 customers, and my only message was I bought them dinner and I said thank you. I walked in without a portfolio, without a tablet, without a pen, and the reality is those customers and those in my network know who they are. They've been willing to take the extremes out of the marketplace, but I've received 3 letters this week. Thanks for bidding, but you're not a carrier. I mean, who in the right mind, if I would be in that boat and running their division, I'd be spreading out my eggs really, really hard right about now to try to figure out, because while I'm incredibly confident I'm on the other side of this rainbow, I'm fairly confident we're all not. So
right.
It's just a crazy market. 28 years, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I think in the next, so we were talking. This is last week. We were at 3 conferences. I was at 2 of them. There were 6 in industry, which is crazy, right? But it actually blows my mind that there were 6 in industry. And I was at one major one. Well, technically 2 major ones, but everyone I was at, this is how people would come up to me, hey, how are you doing? What do you think of the market? That was literally how the conversations would go. And so this is now top of mind. It's of course top of mind to everyone, but there's no dancing, hey, hi, how are you? Beyond a couple minutes. It's what are you thinking of the market? And in my personal opinion, I think we hit bottom. I think we hit bottom a little while ago, but I don't think we're going to come climbing out of it. Oh, sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
A DAT would agree with you, right? You're slowly seeing the spot and the contract come together, and that in every cycle I've been through, that's your turning point, is them to get closer together. Your market stabilizes and you find your bottom, and in the last 90 days, they're moving towards each other. Here's the honest reality. I mean, if it gets worse, all they're going to do is add fuel to the volatility of the market.
Right.
And I'm one of the very few guys in my chair on record saying, when we were going through COVID, I don't like this and we're going to pay for this.
Yeah.
And frankly, there are quite a few of my customers, I never even went and played fool's gold with them, just simply because I didn't want to. Now, I'm only batting about 75% that they repaid that in advance, but I am very thankful for the 75%.
Yeah, that's a pretty good average. So that I'll take those odds. So
you get what you say, and here you as a technology guy maybe love this, but the more transparency you add to this market, you would think that it would make it less volatile, but it's done the exact opposite. It's made it more volatile. Every traffic manager's boss grabs the benchmark and says, beat it.
Right.
It doesn't matter that their freight's any worse than the rest of the benchmark. They just go beat it.
I think right now we're experiencing that. I think what's going to happen with this new freight tech that's coming out, we're just seeing cycles of it now. So you're getting the green screens of the world. You're getting new products that are now creating visibility to pricing. And as you create visibility to pricing, and it becomes normalized to have these pricing swings. So now your high-low buy is now known by the people who are buying and selling.
Yep.
So over time, and it may take a little while, might take 4, 5, 6 years, but that's going to actually normalize that pricing. So people aren't going to be expecting things that are variable as much anymore. So this may change something down the road for those that adopt that type of technology, especially as it advances. Anytime, you see it in the stock market, it becomes very predictable, and freight starting to adopt that as well. It's very predictable. It'll create lower highs and higher lows potentially, or at least faster peaks and faster valleys. So we won't have, the cycles will happen faster. So
you're going to have more and more people that are, based on what you've already said, spot and contract are going to blur. Nobody's going to want to issue paper, and add forward the fact that there's people trying to bring a futures market to the market, all them things. And really all that does is makes a bean counter like me go, well, I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be able to have as much to do with my revenue as I want to. I'm going to go focus on my expenses, make sure I'm the low cost.
Bingo.
I don't know that that's fantastic, but that's going to be, so in trucking, you're going to try to harvest the peaks and not lose in the valleys. And right now, most of us aren't doing that. I'm thankful.
Well,
But
what I think it comes down to is efficient operating. So don't run in lanes that you shouldn't operate in. Have an effective sales team. Have the customers in the right place and the freight in the right place.
Yep.
Deadhead isn't always a bad thing. So
right.
run to the right
Good
location.
deadhead and bad deadhead. There's no
Right.
question about it.
You run Florida, you know what I'm talking about. So,
Yep.
So that, and I don't know, do you still run Texas or?
We do a little bit, not as much as we used to, but we, being that my Florida division is deeply involved in produce, it does.
Yeah, fair enough.
Me to go there. So,
yeah, that's the king of deadhead. So
yes.
between Florida and Colorado. So,
yep.
But
down there, but yes, but if you're chasing quality freight, rather, where the people get into trouble is they're losing the quality freight, and then they're not reassessing their network to understand exactly why they're doing what they're doing. The data is cheap today, and the people to analyze them are not that expensive.
Right.
You go, what do you mean my truck just went 3 backhauls to each other and never had a head haul?
Right.
Happens,
Well, I mean, they may not even be that cheap, but running 250 trucks in a poor manner is very expensive. So,
and quick, the magnitude of your mistakes go up, and I get added zeros to it really quickly. And for a plowboy like myself, I don't know that that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. So I think that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily look at is that was from Tracy Lynn, by the way. I think what a lot of people don't look at is their freight network close enough. So, and if you're and there's a couple great companies out there that can teach you on how to analyze that freight network. There's a few individuals out there as well. I'm definitely from a school of one of those companies that teach it, but it doesn't matter how you learn it. If you're a mid to small company, understand that definitely get on someone's school. So you need to understand.
One of us, right? We'll tell you who we use, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So feel free to reach out and we'll point you. We have a partner in that space, so we're happy to point you to them. But if you don't understand freight networks, reach out.
We want to make sure whoever paid for this podcast is the one we mentioned, not the.
Nobody does. I don't take sponsors, so
okay, there we go.
This is all GLCS. So
it's indirect, Nate. It's indirect. But on the serious side, when you get into data, here's the things: find a source that you can trust. Because when you get into data, and I'm an analytical mind, so it comes easy to me, but I work with my team that it doesn't. You want to quickly eliminate this discussion. Here's my worst lane analytically. What's the first thing you get from a relationship-based CSR, sales guy, anything? Well, they're a great customer. Yeah. Paying the damn bills, So you want a data set that you can trust to the matter, that you can look at the CSR and go, listen, they are good people, but they stink. And then also you need to get to the data set that you understand why they are where they are. So many times in my network, it's because I used to have a backhaul that no longer exists. So now I'm putting it there, and now I'm in the backhaul market, and the round stinks, and it makes that one look terrible. And the moment you can put those pieces together to the point that you actually just let the data speak for itself, now all of a sudden you can make honest calculations, and you can walk into a really good customer and go, listen, 95% of your business, thank you. Let's talk about this 5% for a little bit.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with those conversations. The traffic managers hate talking about analytics because they think it means rate increase. That's not always the case. You just want to find the best freight that you can be the most competitive on, and the both can win. And then the market won't exactly nip you no matter where you're at in it.
No, I agree. I got a piece of advice early on in my career from one of my mentors who said, if you need a calculator to figure it out, you probably shouldn't do it. And I don't know if that applies today, because that goes back to where we were all tracking probably 30 data points, but it does apply. I use that statement all the time today, which is just simply, if I have to sit down and really analyze something to figure out if it's profitable, there's a question there. But if I can sit down and go, this makes money, if I can sit down and just put, of course I'm an analytical person, so I'm gonna look at it very deeply. But if I can just do fast math and say this makes a lot of sense, that's what you need to do more of. Those are the positive things that your business needs to do. Now, you want to aggregate all this data. You have lots of trucks, you have everything, but when you can say, this one lane is going to perform well, and we're going to connect it this way, let's do a lot more of that. That's a good thing. So this particular person owns thousands of trucks today, so there's meaning behind it. But
if you ask that person today, he would tell you that it's harder to be able to do that in this market than any market we've ever been in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it's, I'm quite sure. So, so Turner, I don't know what's up with my eyes and my monitor.
These paths of resistance, good point. And a CSR, unless you give them analytical data, is always going to go to the place they like to be, who they want to talk to, and what that is. So you have to give them good enough data to be able to support that relationship rather than make a business decision on emotion. And our industry is getting way better at that because we have to.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's see. So market, I think we went circle around that. So where do you see us in a year?
Better than you are today. I just don't know the flip point. So I'm an FTR follower, Avery Weiss. Consider him a friend. He's moving his market up a little bit, maybe a month or two. And then Mr. Miller is still talking middle of 2025. So if you took the middle of that, you're talking early 2025, you're seeing something. Unless there's an event, I don't see a booming, this is an incremental climb from here. And for my peers out there, that if there's any peers listening, start to learn what Werner does with their rate increase versus a basis point margin. We know exactly what ours is. 1% rate increase is a certain number basis to the bottom line. Know what that is so that you can incrementally climb that thing out the backside, because it is going to be a climb. I don't think we're going to be able to skip any stairs out the backside.
No, and it's a discussion that needs to start now in any rate discussion with customers. So, and they know exactly where they're sitting at right now, which is why you're starting to have discussions with them right now. So
yeah, no question. It's good to see that Werner said that they're finally starting to draw the line in the sand in that article. And if you're a Randy Martin fan, he claims that he drew the line in the sand all the way back last August. You're starting to see what I call the icons or the cornerstones of our industry say enough's enough. And here we go.
Right. Well, Knight Swift burned or cut quite a few customers last market update. I think they cut quite a few out and just said it's renegotiate or we're just gonna start over basically. So I don't remember the exact words, but I talked about it. So I talk about a lot of things, which is why I have a hard time recalling. I'm getting older. So
I do recall reading something similar to that. So I know you're not.
Yeah. So, but I'm kind of on the same ball with you with, June of next year. I don't think we're going to be completely out of it, but I think we'll be in an emerging position. I'm a big fan of Avery Weiss. I think I've been following Avery for many years. I've not been able to see any of his presentations this year. I've just drawn bad cards to not end up anywhere he's at. But
you got to be in Indianapolis in September, my friend.
I'm sorry?
You got to be in Indianapolis in September. It's one of the best shows you'll go to all year long.
Which one is that?
FTR puts on their own.
That is, okay.
It always includes September 11th, so I think it's the 10th, 11th, 12th this year. I don't think I have, or 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. They made it bigger now. Went from like a 2-day thing to a 4-day thing. They got equipment people, trucking people, brokerage people.
Fair enough.
It's one of the best shows in the marketplace. It's incredibly analytical. So a guy of your personality.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to, I've not been, so I'll have to look that one up. And I know September always is occupied by a whole bunch of,
no question.
Other events. There's always a ton of things going on. So,
but anyhow, yes, Avery does his thing, and Avery is very conservative in his projections. Obviously, you got the very radical ones in the market that I won't mention. That's why I like Avery. You know, he's just a very small needle moving guy. And he's got very good basis for what he says. He also claims that somewhere around the first of the year will be when, I'm fully full on drivers, that I'm going to struggle to fill my trucks somewhere around January 1st of next year as well. So all those things added up, if any of them come true, they got to be equaling a pull out the backside here. So
yeah. Well, we shall see. So, and I'll look into September and see what I can make happen there. So
that's right. We'll overnight it in a pickup.
Yeah, there you go. That's a easy drive from here to Indy. I don't have any problem with that. So we'll make it happen. So
that's good.
All right. Well, let's shift into kind of wrapping this thing up, which means we'll go into some interesting questions. We'll talk a little bit about nothing without trucking. So by interesting questions. So first one, if Kottke Trucking were a food truck business, what would be your signature dish?
Pizza.
Pizza. Why pizza?
Oh, because currently you haven't seen my figure live, because you get a figure like this by eating a lot of pizza.
I'd be right there with you. I'd be right there with you. So I like pizza. Pizza doesn't like me. So fair enough.
Yep, no,
all right.
Truck. And I got 5 daughters that would eat it, so I know I'd have 5 customers.
Yeah, bingo. All right. Okay, how about if you could add one ridiculous feature to your trucks, what would it be?
Ridiculous feature to a ridiculous feature, like so futuristic that nobody listening will know what I'm talking about.
Just something that makes sense, but just as crazy.
Anything that it makes safety magnify 100-fold, whether that be the anti-bumper that makes sure that car never comes near me is perfect. But it would have to be something safety related. I'm a safety nut if you don't know that.
Yeah, I've picked up on that too, but I think most business owners these days are. So I don't know how you can be in trucking and not be. So you bump somebody these days and you got to write a huge check. So
crazy.
All right. So nothing without trucking. So this is an ATA initiative. So nothingwithouttrucking.com. And it's actually, well, there we go. Yeah, that's one way of getting to it. Or you can just go to nothingwithouttrucking.com. There's no www in front of it. But nothingwithouttrucking.com, it celebrates the unsung heroes of the road, the truckers who keep America moving forward. It's a platform that's dedicated to showcasing the vital role of the trucking industry in powering the nation's economy and ensuring the seamless flow of goods from coast to coast. So really what the ATA is pushing here is bringing forward the stories of the trucking industry to the general public. And they're doing that through engaging content, stories, and analysis and they want to shed light on the challenges, the triumphs, the innovations on the world of trucking today. And largely the industry is somewhat under attack, or really is under attack, by trial lawyers, by environmentalists. You look at, we talked earlier about the rise in costs. A lot of that is due to environmental restrictions on trucks, and some of it is safety, but some of it is just simply the environmental requirements that are now on trucks that are there that weren't there 20 years ago. Of course, a truck is much cleaner than it was, and I think all response to that too. So the industry supports these events. I mean, the trucking industry, by all means, supports all of these things. They want to be a clean industry. 98.5% of pollutants have been eliminated from truck tailpipes over the last 40 years. Trucks are 60 times more clean than they were in the 90s.
I don't know if it's true anymore, but I've at one time heard that a truck in LA actually puts out cleaner air than it takes in.
I've heard that too, but I don't. That's a good one to ask the Atri folks the next time we're around them. But I mean, if you figure it's 60 times more clean than what it is in the 90s, I mean, that air in LA was pretty dirty at one time. I don't know if it is as bad as what it was back then.
I mean, you did a great job explaining it. I can explain it in one sentence. God bless our truck drivers. I mean, there are many scenarios that a normal desk jockey would just roll their eyes. I mean, delayed a day on a family vacation simply because a shipper won't load a product. I mean, those scenarios are all too common, and yet they come back to work the day after vacation and they go right back to it. God bless them. They've always been my hero, and didn't matter if we needed them in COVID or when I was 13 years old riding with my dad. God bless every one of them. They are what makes us all have a life of the high quality that we have.
Perfect statement. So I think I concur with that entirely. They're just amazing people in general. So I always take time. I mean, some of my closest, I'll say friends at this point, but I enjoy stopping and talking and getting a story from every driver that I can. So, and I love having them on the show. I got to spend a ton of time with Chris Thomas last week and his wife. He's been just amazing to become a friend with over the last year. So I miss that part of the job, to be honest with you, Kyle, that I don't get to work. I work with that, and I miss that part of the industry. I love that side of the industry, but there was a part of me that, and I don't want this to sound this way, but I got kind of bored after many years of running trucks, and I wanted to jump into the technology side, which was my passion. So that was the thing. But I certainly miss running trucks, and I miss that part of it, the people.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Our industry is thankful for everything you've done to it. I very quickly, I know I'm up against your clock, but my favorite day, with no disrespect to my family, is when we hand out our driver of the year.
Yeah,
it is my favorite day of the year. You can make a grown man, well into usually his 50s, sometimes his 40s, become a puddle of tears, and it is the most cool thing to watch that amount of respect given to an underappreciated role in our society. And it is, I mean, if there's any of your customers or anybody watching your show that doesn't pay it forward to a driver through that type of event, it don't cost much. It takes a little bit of time. Got to get them off the road for a day. You bring together your staff and you have a party. I mean, we happen to go top shelf. You don't even have to do that.
Sure.
It's just good stuff.
No, that's excellent. And I love going to the industry events where we're able to celebrate the drivers like TCA. I love being able to do that. So another quick follow up on Nothing Without Trucking. Something I like to ask everybody is what's a skill you never expected to learn working in the trucking industry?
Skill I never expected to learn in the trucking. Well, the humorous one would be grease a trailer. But the skill that I took for granted early in my career that I believe is one of the most critical ones today is empathy. If you can practice empathy, it makes being a leader in this industry tremendously easier. If you can put yourself in their shoes, I mean, life gets easier. And if I was in that spot, it would suck. I mean, that makes it a heck of a lot easier. Maybe we shouldn't work for that company anymore.
Right.
Empathy.
I agree with that. And empathy starts with listening. So, you have to be able to listen to the person that's speaking with you, because you can't put yourself in that space without hearing what they're saying. And that doesn't mean just waiting to speak. That means
I think it's John Maxwell that says empathy is advanced listening. I'm Maxwell certified, but he helps you understand that, hearing it, listening to it, and then the empathetic side is being able to understand it to do something about it. And that's good stuff.
I think you're this one person that called me out on LinkedIn asking me if I had read a lot of John Maxwell.
And John Maxwell stuff, I mean, you only got to, no offense meant to John, he's written so many books, but read 6 of them and his stories keep recycling in all of his books. But you want to talk about a person who can make you hold the mirror in the morning and go, I want that person to be better. It's John Maxwell.
Yeah, no, agreed. I like to just cycle around. You can especially tell when I'm busy. I like to do something at least once a day on LinkedIn, and I've been reaching into X, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And when I get busy, I have a huge list of quotes that I dive into, and I search those quotes to just how I'm feeling that day, and I'll pull out a quote. So when I'm busy, you always know when I'm busy when I start reaching in for quotes. And it's not a random quote. It means this is what I'm dealing with right now, or something along. It has something pertinent to what happened yesterday or today. And Maxwell's one that I have a depth of from time to time. So
very cool.
Well, Kyle, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to wrap this up here. You're welcome to hang tight or whatever. As we wrap things up, there'll be a little bit of an outro. But you're welcome to hang on. We can chat after, or if I know you're a busy man, so if you need to bow out, we can catch up at another time. But or we'll just drop you. So, but appreciate Kyle coming on today. Next week we are live from TA Dedicated, and we'll be talking with Matt Zeckman and Rob McNeil. I'll also have 2 guest hosts on, Robert Bain and Jenny Malfarina. And I'll have them on because we'll be doing the freight movement. We'll have freight movement live, our first inaugural freight movement event in Bloomington, Minnesota, from 6 to 9 p.m. And that's sponsored by TA Dedicated. So it made a whole lot of sense to have Driving Forward go live from TA's office. So real excited to have some great discussions with Matt and Rob. They're both great guys. Matt is the VP of Operations, and Rob, I believe, is VP of Sales at TA Dedicated. Following next Thursday, I think we have Samsara Beyond will be live we'll have a crew of people at Samsara Beyond. So if you're at Samsara Beyond, and I think we were just looking at that customer list, and it's pretty deep. So we'll have a wide variety of people at Samsara Beyond. Reach out to us if you're there. We'd be happy to meet. Looking forward to that. And Following that, the rest of the summer is looking like, rest of the summer will be at the Minnesota Trucking Association Annual Conference, end of July. We have a little bit of a sponsorship going on there. We'll also be bringing Driving Forward live. We'll have a Freight Movement live podcast as well. And in September, we'll have a large crew at Trimble Insight and a few events following that. And that kind of wraps up the next events the way that I see them today. Once again, appreciate everybody coming on today. It was a great discussion with Kyle. Look forward to seeing everybody next week. Forgot to mention to Kyle, happy Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everybody else that's on. So enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you get a nice, relaxing weekend. And with that being said, let's wrap this one up. So stay curious, stay informed, and keep pushing the boundary of what's possible. Until next time, drive forward with purpose and innovation. Thanks for watching.